Well, for more on this story, I'm joined now by Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah of Iran. Mr. Pahlavi, hello. Thank you for being here with us today.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure.
Mr. Pahlavi, 6 months after the election, opposition demonstrations are still going on, like those we saw on Sunday. It's difficult to say because from where we are, it seems like the people's movement, the Green movement, is growing, and yet we're also hearing today that thousands of pro-government demonstrators are also taking to the streets. What reports are you getting from your sources inside Iran? How big is the opposition movement really?
Well, first of all, the latest information that I have received is at least in three important categories. The first, of course, is an attempt by the regime to claim its legitimacy by orchestrating pro-regime demonstration in favor of maintaining the so-called clerical regime, or velayat faqih, as they call it. The people's movement has been, ever since this summer, and perhaps even before that, always a question of demanding some fundamental change. And today we have no doubt that the totality of the regime is being put under question. And therefore, the movement that is now dubbed the Green Movement continues to go on despite the regime crackdown. Other information that I've received recently is the state of prisoners has become so grave that even some members of the Basij and some of the Revolutionary Guards who have been contacting us are indicating an absolute immediate necessity of humanitarian intervention, as is the case of many of the prisoners. I also understand that various groups have been scattering to major strategic positions to try and gain control of it, while at the same time being very cautious in maintaining the discipline of non-violence, not to provoke any further retaliation. And last but not least, I also have heard that students have agreed to organize themselves in photographing various areas where precious elements such as museums or paintings and things of that nature are being documented in case some fleeing members of the regime will attempt a last-minute plunder before they leave. This is the latest I've received over the past 24 hours, on top of everything else we've been monitoring carefully in the last few days.
Mr. Pahlavi, the Islamic Revolution has been running around for the past 30 years. As you said, these protests all date back to this summer and the re-election of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Was that the key thing for why this uprising has been gaining so much momentum now, or have other things come into play as well?
Well, I think there are very few Iranians left in the country that do not see today that the only salvation possible for our country is a complete change of regime and to be replaced by a secular democratic system. This is what the major cry on the streets of Iran and all over the country has been for a long time. And today this movement is gravitating to the final stage and almost a revolutionary stage that I think the country is visibly in right now. And it makes it therefore very critical to see where does the world stand as it comes to choosing a camp now. You either have to support the people of Iran in their quest for freedom, or yet again be indifferent towards it, which can only contribute to the prolonging survival of the clerical regime.
And Mr. Pahlavi, just very briefly, what do you think about the reaction of the international community to the situation in Iran? Is it doing enough?
Well, I think that this is a golden opportunity for the people of Iran and the world to finally put an end to all the threats and problems that the clerical regime has been its root cause from the very beginning. Beyond the general rhetoric, I think visible action of support for the people could be in the form of perhaps even retrieving your ambassadors, showing the regime that this behavior will not be tolerated under any circumstance, not to mention the other elements of pressures that are already being contemplated. But I wanted to add just one last point, if I could, very quickly. The central issue in Iran today is about human rights and freedom. Once Iran achieves a different form of government which is democratic, all threats, including anything that the world is now focusing, such as the nuclear threat, will also dissipate. These two things go hand and glove together.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah of Iran.